Cybersecurity is facing a crisis, not just of staffing, but of structure. Around the world, nearly 4 million cybersecurity jobs are unfilled. In the US alone, that number is over 660,000. And yet, that's not even the most dangerous part. The real problem isn't just the shortage, it's who's being left out and what that exclusion is costing us. This video follows up on our recent article at Quantum Cyber AI. You'll find the full post and sources at quantumcyberai.com. But let's break it down visually and get to the core issue. Diversity in cybersecurity is no longer optional. It's essential to survival. At Quantum Cyber AI, we analyze how digital threats evolve and how defensive strategies must evolve too. One of the clearest trends across the board is this: the cybersecurity field is not just under-resourced, it's under-diversified, and the two problems are deeply connected. Gartner projects that over half of all major cybersecurity incidents by 2025 will stem from human issues, not software failures or outdated firewalls, but from gaps in hiring, training, and team composition. Teams that are under-resourced, burned out, or homogeneous are far more likely to miss red flags, delay response, and build fragile systems. Let's take a closer look at why that happens. First, the hiring funnel is broken. Cybersecurity job postings regularly demand 4-year degrees, 5 years of experience, and elite certifications like CISSP, even for so-called entry-level roles. These standards systematically filter out capable, diverse candidates, especially those from non-traditional or lower-income backgrounds. Certifications matter, but when they become gatekeepers rather than on-ramps, the field starts reinforcing its own blind spots. People of color, women, first-generation professionals, and career switchers are routinely excluded by hiring practices that prioritize pedigree over potential. The result is a pipeline that's narrower than the threat landscape it's supposed to defend. Now combine that with a second factor: burnout. Even professionals who make it into the field face long hours, limited mentorship, and constant pressure to stay ahead of emerging threats. Understaffed security operations centers are stretched thin. And for underrepresented employees, the experience can be especially isolating. Bias in performance reviews, lack of peer support, and limited advancement opportunities drive many out of the field altogether. This revolving door only deepens the crisis. When diverse talent isn't retained, teams become even more homogeneous over time, and that has direct consequences for security. Homogeneous teams, no matter how skilled, tend to share similar assumptions, experiences, and ways of thinking. That creates blind spots in how threats are detected, interpreted, and prioritized. For example, phishing campaigns that rely on cultural or linguistic nuance may go undetected if no one on the team recognizes the signals. Social engineering attempts that target specific communities are often missed because the team lacks lived experience that would otherwise raise red flags. In contrast, inclusive teams bring a broader range of instincts, perspectives, and contextual knowledge. They're better at threat modeling because they can imagine more varied attacker strategies. They're faster to adapt because they don't rely on a single mental framework. And they're measurably more effective. Research shows diverse teams outperform in breach simulations and red team exercises. This isn't hypothetical. Wired reported that women and underrepresented professionals have directly contributed to stronger cybersecurity system design in multiple large-scale environments. Inclusive cybersecurity teams are more likely to recognize harm where others see abstraction, and more likely to build systems that actually account for the users they're designed to protect. Let's talk about one of the biggest failures caused by this lack of diversity: missed vulnerabilities that disproportionately affect marginalized groups. Scam campaigns targeting immigrant communities, for instance, often use bilingual messages and culturally specific references. Without team members who recognize those cues, early warning signs get missed and harm spreads faster. The same goes for biased algorithms that reinforce profiling or surveillance practices. When development teams are all from similar backgrounds, flawed assumptions don't get questioned, they get coded in. And once those systems are deployed, they can cause real harm to the very communities already most at risk. It's not enough to patch these issues later. They have to be prevented during design. And that requires building cybersecurity teams that reflect the diversity of the population they're trying to protect. The good news? We already know what works. Apprenticeship programs, paid internships, mentorship structures. These are not experiments. They've already shown real results. Cisco launched a global apprenticeship initiative that prioritized candidates without four-year degrees. Within a year, they saw a 28% increase in retention across cybersecurity roles. IBM's Skills Build program trained over 100,000 learners, many from historically excluded backgrounds. United Airlines partnered with the SANS Institute to create a training pipeline specifically aimed at diversifying its internal cybersecurity workforce. These companies aren't making charity hires. They're filling critical gaps with real talent. Even federal agencies are beginning to respond. The Biden administration's National Cyber Workforce Strategy calls for inclusive hiring practices, stronger training pipelines, and partnerships with minority-serving institutions. But implementation still lags. A 2024 GAO report found that fewer than 12% of federal cybersecurity professionals identified as Black or Latino. Women were still significantly underrepresented across nearly all technical grades. To fix that, agencies will need to rework how they recruit, how they classify candidates, and how they structure entry points. Civil service reform, updated security clearance pathways, and funding tied to DEI metrics are just a few of the necessary steps. Because the problem isn't just about filling roles, it's about who gets to shape the priorities of the field. If cybersecurity continues to rely on a narrow slice of talent, it will continue to suffer from narrow thinking. And in a world of AI-enhanced threats, deepfake attacks, and asymmetric digital warfare, that's not just a missed opportunity, it's a serious liability. One more thing that often gets overlooked. Many hiring managers think they have a skills gap problem, when what they really have is a hiring strategy problem. The ISC2 2024 workforce study found that 64% of security leaders believe their existing teams have internal skills gaps that are more dangerous than their unfilled roles. In other words, even when the team looks complete on paper, it's not functioning effectively. That's because credential-based hiring tends to replicate the same background over and over again. It creates intellectual monocultures, teams full of people who solve problems the same way, miss the same cues, and default to the same tools. You can't solve complex, adaptive problems with one kind of brain. Cybersecurity threats evolve constantly. The teams that defend against them need to do the same. So what does that mean for you? If you're a hiring manager, audit your job postings, strip out vague requirements, focus on skills, not signals. If you're in a leadership role, invest in apprenticeships, mentorship, and retention, not just recruitment. And if you're entering the field, know that your perspective is part of what makes you valuable. Diversity in cybersecurity isn't an HR issue. It's a security strategy. The future of digital defense will belong to teams that mirror the complexity of the ecosystems they protect. For the full breakdown, including sources and practical checklists, read the full article at quantumcyberai.com. If this video helped clarify the risks and the path forward, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment with your thoughts. The more we talk about this, the faster the industry can change. Thanks for watching. And remember, resilience starts with people.